Hey, what is up, mortals? It is JSatwekar here with a new video for you. Welcome to part 2 of What If Deku Had a Teleportation Quirk. I just wanted to greet you guys by saying sit back and relax, you're in for a treat. So we begin. All Might paused as he considered the question. The two boys standing before him appeared to have had no issue capturing the villain. He wanted to tell them that all they really needed to do was work hard. Since they were able to catch the villain, the symbol of peace felt they were already doing that. He also felt that he was running out of time in his hero form.
I am impressed that you were able to capture the villain. Remember, a hero has to be able to put the heart of the victim at ease. Make sure to have a smile on your face,
All Might said with a smile.
Please hand over the villain. I will make sure he goes to jail. Since you are not supposed to be using your quirks, I would recommend cleaning up Dagobah Beach to burn off some of that youthful energy. What high school do you boys plan to attend?
We're hoping to go to UA, sir, Izuku said nervously as he handed the trapped villain to All Might. Can we get your autograph, sir?
I will give you my autograph at a later date. Unfortunately, I have to go now,
All Might said with his trademark smile as he took the villain from the green-haired boy.
Both of you certainly have the potential to become great heroes.
As the symbol of peace leapt away, he considered calling Night Eye to see if he could get more information about the two boys. He landed safely on the ground before his time ran out. His first priority would be to turn the villain over to the police. The #1 hero was grateful that neither of the two boys really had any further questions, since he was no longer able to maintain his hero form and didn't want them finding out about his secret. He couldn't wait for them to take the entrance exam since he was going to be a teacher at UA. The two boys watched as their idol leapt away. Katsuki looked over at his friend. He noticed the look of awe on his friend's face. The blonde-haired boy couldn't blame his friend because the situation felt surreal to him as well. It slowly dawned on him that Izuku had used his quirk and hadn't eaten anything afterwards.
Ghost, at some point you need to eat. I know how draining your quirk is,
Bakugo growled, trying to snap his friend back to reality.
How about we just clean up the beach to train for the UA entrance exam? If we use our quirks, it shouldn't take us long to clean up the beach.
I agree with you given how strong our quirks are, but we aren't supposed to use them without permission, Izuku responded as he began eating his strawberries. I'm surprised that you didn't say anything to All Might, since he's your favorite hero. Do you think that All Might was impressed that we defeated that villain?
I doubt it. That villain didn't seem all that strong. You asked the questions I was going to ask, so I let it go,
Katsuki growled as he started to walk away from the bridge.
Next time, let's take the shorter route home.
That was terrifying. I can't believe we made it out of there unharmed, Midoriya said with relief as he ate the fruit. The two boys continued walking home. As they walked, they discussed what had just occurred. Izuku finished eating as the conversation switched to All Might. For the two of them, the most amazing thing that had occurred was meeting the #1 hero. The conversation came to an end when Midoriya, with a smile plastered on his face, walked up the stairs to his apartment. When the two friends arrived at Dagobah Beach the next day, they stared at the mountains of trash and began to question whether or not cleaning the beach was feasible. The green-haired boy recalled how confident they had been the day before, but now he wasn't so sure. He now regretted not requesting permission to use their quirks to clean up the beach. Despite the daunting task in front of them, neither of them intended to back down. Bakugo smiled. Even though he wanted to use his quirk, the challenge of cleaning the beach without their quirks was exciting. But even more exciting was competing against his friend to see who could clean more of the beach. As the two friends worked on clearing the trash from the beach, they were unaware that All Might was watching their progress from a distance. When All Might had heard a rumor that two people were going to try and clear Dagobah Beach, he had been skeptical, but now he was witnessing it. After watching the pair's progress for a period of time, All Might transformed into his hero form and then jumped over to where the duo was working. As he landed, he was met with a shocked expression from both boys. Bakugo was so surprised that he was setting off tiny explosions from both his hands. And Izuku stopped in his tracks and, without thinking, dropped the trash he was carrying and used his quirk to teleport over to All Might.
"Have no fear, for I am here! I see the two of you are cleaning up the beach,"
All Might said enthusiastically as he stared at the two boys.
"A hero should always be ready for the unexpected. I have some news you might want to hear." "Did you have to make a flashy entrance? I almost used my quirk because I thought you were attacking us."
Katsuki growled in frustration at the interruption.
"What news could be so important that the #1 hero would deliver it himself?" "A hero's bold entrance can put the hearts of the innocent at ease, young Bakugo,"
the symbol of peace said pleasantly.
"I wanted to have a proper conversation with you boys. Your teamwork and efficiency in taking down that villain yesterday was impressive. While I or another hero is here, you may use your quirks freely."
The two friends stared at each other in shock. They hadn't expected to receive permission to use their quirks. In fact, neither of them had expected to see the #1 hero again. The look of surprise made All Might chuckle as he thought about his future plans.
"You told me you wanted to go to UA. It is the #1 school in Japan, but you won't get there if you don't train,"
All Might said with a smile as he watched them regain their composure.
"You have 10 months before the UA entrance exam. I suggest you use that time wisely."
Sir, how did we get permission so quickly? Doesn't it take about a month for the application to be processed? Izuku asked as he struggled to regain his composure. Why were our applications approved so quickly?
"It was your desire to help the community that sped up the process. Feel free to ask for advice if you need any,"
All Might said with his trademark smile.
"Remember to avoid overworking yourselves. That will hurt you instead of helping you get stronger."
Yes, sir, Izuku said.
"We won't, sir,"
Katsuki growled as he held back his urge to complain about being underestimated. All Might had the two boys avoid using their quirks for the remainder of the day. He wanted to get acquainted with their work ethic. He had heard rumors that his old enemy was returning. The #1 hero knew his time as the symbol of peace would soon come to an end, and he wanted to find a successor soon. More importantly, he wanted to train some of the new generation of heroes. As he watched the two boys, he felt hopeful that the next generation of heroes would be able to save more people. The blonde-haired hero watched the two boys carefully. He noticed the teamwork that both of the boys had. Even without their quirks, they were able to start clearing away some of the heavier pieces of debris. He noticed that Midoriya would study the object before he tried to move it, while Bakugo would simply go after any trash that looked like it would be a challenge. Either characteristic could be dangerous for a hero if taken to an extreme. At first, All Might was concerned when he saw the two boys keeping track of who had to call for help the most, but as he continued to watch, he realized what was really happening. If Bakugo or Midoriya called for help too often, the other one would force his friend to go to a different pile of trash. The symbol of peace found their concern for each other quite impressive. The green-haired boy was wiping sweat from his face when he noticed that the pile of debris his friend was working was about to fall. All Might watched as the emerald-eyed boy activated his quirk. The trash simply vanished and reappeared next to an abandoned truck. Then Midoriya sat down by the pile of rubbish she was working on. Moments later, he was snacking on some fruit from a bag that had suddenly appeared in his hands. Bakugo looked up suddenly when he heard some of the trash near him shift. As he looked up, he noticed that the objects vanished. Instead of continuing to clear the trash away, he took a step back. The blonde-haired boy sat down facing his friend. The pile of trash that each of them were working on didn't seem like it was getting any smaller. The only thing he did know was that his body ached from hauling the trash away.
"Thanks, nerd. I need to stop acting on instincts alone,"
Katsuki said as he smiled at his friend.
I wonder how long it will take us to clean the trash from this beach.
You're welcome, Kacchan. It feels like every time we remove one piece of trash, another two takes its place. Izuku muttered in exhaustion. On the bright side, this is great training for us. The conversation between the two boys continued for a bit. The symbol of peace noticed that the sun was starting to set. Having seen enough, he decided to send the two boys home. A training regimen for both of them was starting to form in his mind.
It's time to go home, you two. If you continue to show this dedication, I might reward you both by sparring with you,
All Might said, knowing that it would encourage the two boys to work even harder.
Don't rush progress. The amount of trash on this beach didn't appear here overnight, and it won't go away overnight either.
The symbol of peace watched as the two boys left the beach. While he didn't know if either of them was the right person to be his successor, he resolved to ask his former sidekick about them. All Might felt that having more candidates to choose from would be a better option in this situation. As he left the beach, he noticed he was getting a call from Night Eye. While the rift between the two of them hadn't completely healed, it was disappearing. For the next 5 months, All Might continued to watch the two boys. If he wasn't available, he would ask his mentor to watch them instead. As the two students grew stronger, they were able to remove ever larger quantities of trash before they had to stop. With most of the trash removed, the symbol of peace decided that he would alter how they cleaned up the beach. He had designed the next part of the cleaning to require them to use their quirks. Then, one morning, the blonde-haired hero watched as the two boys approached him. As the boys got closer, they noticed a metal suitcase lying in the sand next to All Might. The ocean breeze slowly subsided as the two friends stopped in front of All Might. The #1 hero in the world towered over the boys.
By the incredible progress you have made in cleaning up the beach, I have come to realize that the work has become too easy for you. I have, therefore, decided that you need more of a challenge,
All Might said with a devilish smile.
Beginning today, you will need to use your quirks to clean up the beach. Since I will be here with you, you won't have to worry about getting into trouble for using your quirks. Just remember to practice restraint. Ghost, that answers the question we had on the way here. I guess we finally managed to impress All Might,
the blonde-haired boy grumbled with a smile on his face.
We can handle anything you can throw at us.
Kacchan, I highly doubt we could handle anything he could throw at us. He's the #1 hero in the world for a reason, the green-haired boy muttered in response. Besides, we don't know what he's going to change with the beach cleanup.
Let's see if you're still saying that after I explain how the training will change,
All Might said, looking directly at Bakugo.
Starting today, you will be wearing weights equal to half your body weight on your limbs,
All Might said with a smile that was slightly menacing.
You cannot remove the weights until I say you can.
All Might opened the metal suitcase. Inside the case were 8 different weights. After the two boys were wearing the weights, the symbol of peace had them continue to clean up the beach. It took them another 2 months to clean Dagobah Beach. After the beach was cleaned, All Might first had the pair run through various obstacle courses each day, and then he would spar with them, all while wearing the weights. 1 month before the exam, All Might had them stop using the weights. He felt there was no longer a need to use the training weights. The symbol of peace gave the boys 2 objectives while they were running through an obstacle course. The first objective was to complete the various tasks that they were given. The other objective was to prevent the other person from completing the tasks he had been given. All Might enjoyed watching the growth of the two friends. He was still fascinated by Midoriya's quirk. It impressed the #1 hero that the green-haired boy was finding new applications for his quirk. Izuku managed to alter his teleportation bubble so that the attacks that were coming towards him changed directions abruptly. However, All Might was still concerned about the boy's inability to recognize his own limits. It left the symbol of peace speechless as he saw the similarities between himself and the boy. Bakugo's growth was just as impressive in All Might's eyes. Although he found the blonde-haired boy far too abrasive and aggressive for his own good, the boy's tenacity was impressive. Just like his emerald-eyed friend, Bakugo seemed to find new ways to unleash his explosions. However, with the UA entrance exams only a month away, the pro hero felt he had to bring the training to a close. There was no doubt in his mind that both boys would pass, and he wanted them to be well rested for the exam.
Tomorrow is the last day that I will be training you. After that, you will have to find a way to train without me. I believe both of you will pass the entrance exam with flying colors,
All Might said with pride and with his trademark smile.
The entrance exam will test both your knowledge and your physical abilities. Don't let your guard down. There is more to the UA entrance exam than you would guess.
After that, All Might sent the boys home. As he transformed from his hero form, a man with dark green hair approached him. The man quickly pushed his glasses back into place. The two watched the sun as it continued to set. It seems those boys are already leaving their mark. For whatever reason, I don't see the same grim future for you, Night Eye said flatly as he concealed his own surprise on the matter. However, I think we should find a successor for One for All soon. The future likes to change all of a sudden.
I thought whatever you saw in the future always came true, Night Eye. What gave you a reason to believe the future has changed?
The symbol of peace asked in shock.
As long as I've known you, the future you saw always occurred. It's mind-blowing to hear you say the exact opposite now.
It seems that this time I ignored the effect the human element could have on the future. Each person's decisions impact how the future plays out. For some reason, what you did here altered the future, Night Eye said as he considered the implication of what he was saying. I still see plenty of challenges in the future. I would advise you to pick a successor after the events that occur in the USJ. Since the future has changed, I want to see if your decision will impact the future.
I'm guessing you came all the way out here to tell me that I should start preparing to be a teacher at UA.
All Might said as he felt excited for the future.
You shouldn't worry that much. I can handle preparing to be a teacher on my own. I don't need your assistance.
No, I came to tell you to start now. If you delay, the volume of work will prevent you from informing the students about their acceptance to UA, Night Eye said with a small shake of his head. I looked a month into your future and saw you getting so bogged down with work that it prevented you from informing students about how they did on the entrance exam. The two pro heroes continued talking as the sun set. As they left the beach, a gentle ocean breeze carrying the calming smell of saltwater began to blow. All Might was excited that his future had changed. It made the symbol of peace wonder if Night Eye was turning what he saw into reality, like a self-fulfilling prophecy. The number one hero couldn't wait to see which students he would be teaching when he started teaching at UA. Over the next month, Bakugo and Midoriya developed a new routine. Each day they would study for several hours, then they would spar without using their quirks. After sparring for an hour or two, they would discuss the exam. Both of them agreed that UA would most likely not permit students from the same school to take the physical exam in the same location. It made sense to prevent classmates from assisting or interfering with one another. The thought of not being able to take the physical exam together bothered them. However, as they discussed it, they saw the value in the separation. UA was testing to see if an individual could make it as a hero. This caused Bakugo and Midoriya to train their quirks separately. Neither one wanted to reveal what kind of new tricks he had developed. Izuku woke up early the day of the UA entrance exam. He wanted to get to the testing location before his friend arrived. After eating breakfast, he grabbed his bag of snacks and left for the exam site. As the green-haired boy got there, he saw his blonde-haired friend arriving at the same time. A few minutes later, the boys entered the testing site for the written exam. The exam site was packed with people trying to enter the building to take the exam. The two friends found the written portion of the exam easy to complete. As it turned out, both of them had over-prepared for the written portion of the exam. After wishing each other good luck, each one went to their testing site for the physical exam. Present Mike, All Might, along with several other teachers from UA, were watching the applicants from a room inside UA. Once all the students had arrived at the testing site for the physical exam, Present Mike explained the objective of the physical exam. The room was filled with tension as the teacher waited to see which students would prove themselves. Present Mike then explained the rules of the exam and announced the start of the exam. Izuku didn't waste any time entering the mock city that UA had set up for the physical exam. Several one-pointer robots appeared in front of him as he entered the city. The green-haired boy used his quirk to break the robots. He did this by teleporting only a small portion of each robot. The rest of the robot was left behind since it wasn't in the bubble that he had created. Midoriya chose to hang back and help those who ended up fighting too many robots. He watched as a series of three-pointer robots surrounded a nearby person. The emerald-eyed boy simply activated his quirk to get in close to the robots. He was able to deactivate a third of the group before the rest of them started to attack him. Despite the constant stream of attacks, he was able to use his teleportation bubble to alter the path of the attacks. Each attack went around him. With ease, he slowly started to dismantle the rest of the robots. The teachers took notes as they watched the students. Bakugo and Midoriya were mentioned the most in the teachers' notes. Even All Might was surprised by how well the two boys were doing. With 5 minutes remaining to the exam, the zero-pointer robots were activated. This was the moment all of the teachers dreaded. It could turn into a disaster if one of the students was unable to flee from the robot, or chose, instead, to fight the robots. Everyone in the room held their breath as they watched the 4 zero-pointer robots emerge. Izuku was defeating the last remaining 2-pointer robots as the ground started to shake. He looked up to see an absolutely massive robot moving around the city. 2 things prevented him from retreating with the rest of the students. The first was that some of the students were walking extremely slowly and wouldn't be able to get out of the way in time if the green-haired boy let the zero-pointer continue its advance. The other thing that he saw was a girl with brown hair trapped under part of a defeated robot. Before he charged at the robot, he ate a few snacks. Despite the robot looming overhead, Midoriya focused on the first thing he needed to do. He created a bubble around the debris trapping the girl. Once he was satisfied that the student wasn't in the bubble, he teleported the item onto the sidewalk. He then released the teleportation bubble before creating a new one around the girl. Once she was safely behind him, the emerald-eyed boy quickly teleported onto the arm of the closest robot. Instead of letting the robot catch him, he kept teleporting until he was near the head of the robot. Izuku then created the largest bubble he could muster. Once the head was separated from the robot's body and encased in the bubble, he teleported the head of the robot to the ground behind the robot. However, at that point, he passed out because of his low blood sugar. As he fell from the robot, the brown-haired girl that he had saved earlier came to his rescue. She used the piece of the robot that had trapped her as a way to get high enough into the air to reach Midoriya. She then overused her quirk by activating it on Midoriya and gently lowered him to the ground. As she and Izuku reached the ground, Present Mike announced that the exam was coming to a close. Present Mike also said that anyone who had injuries should see Recovery Girl. After regaining consciousness and eating most of his snacks, the green-haired boy left the testing site, wondering if he had scored enough points on the exam to get accepted into UA. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in the story thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. First, we've got a second channel called Anime Deep Dive. Anime Deep Dive goes deep into the facts and lore of a wide variety of anime. It's sure to expand your weeb knowledge for all kinds of series, guaranteed. On top of that, we have a third channel called We the Celestials Naruto What Ifs. It's what we do on this channel already, but in the vast world and lore of Naruto. Go check it out if you're in the mood for some jutsu action. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, then I would like to extend out an invitation to join the team. The only caveat being we only accept members 16 years and up to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interests by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. Our Discord is an all-around fantastic place to be, whether you're a fan or looking to join our band of misfits. We're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it from us for today's video, so thank you all for watching and have a great day!